with the 55th overall pick in the second round. LeBron and his son now officially have the opportunity to be the first father-son duo to play in the NBA at the same time. Bronny James, thank God, he's in this position. If y'all remember, he suffered cardiac arrest last year while on the campus of USC. We didn't know what his status was. I don't give a damn about him averaging less than 5 points. I don't care about his numbers or anything like that. You heard about his athleticism. You heard about his defensive prowess. You heard about the potential that he may have.
What if I told you that one of the most hyped rookies in NBA history is actually playing worse than 94% of his peers? You might think I'm talking about some unlucky no-name player, but nope, I'm talking about Bronny James, son of the legendary LeBron. Now, before you start defending him, let me hit you with this. Bronny's preseason stats have him ranked 94th in points per game among rookies. 94th, and it gets worse. His field goal percentage, 95th. 3-point percentage, 104th. Plus minus, dead last at 105th. Still think he deserves all that hype? Alright, let's talk about the hype machine that's been spinning out of control around Bronny James. You know how everyone's been talking about him like he's the next basketball messiah? Well, it's time to pump the brakes and look at what's really going down. Picture this. Bronny steps onto the court for his first NBA game. The crowd goes wild. Cameras are flashing, and everyone's holding their breath, waiting for magic to happen. It's like the second coming of LeBron, right? But then he starts playing, and it's like, wait, what's going on here? Let's break down some numbers.
I mean, I think we've only, in modern time, I remember when King Griffey Jr. and his dad was on the field together with the Mariners, and to see this, I never thought it was even possible. I believe the first game of the season they're gonna play, I will be at that game. Now, run tell that. October 22nd, Shea gonna be in the house. For the first time in NBA history, oh man, it's nepotism. Half the corporations is nepotism.
Because they're so bad you might not believe me. In his first few games, Bronny's shooting was so off, it's almost unbelievable. We're talking 1 for 11 in 3 games. That's not just a slow start or rookie jitters. That's historically bad. Like, check if the rim is bent, bad. But here's where it gets really wild. Some people are still out there defending him like he's the second coming of Michael Jordan. It's like they're watching a completely different game. You've got commentators making excuses, fans swearing he's just warming up, and social media going nuts trying to spin this into some kind of underdog story. The truth is, Bronny's performance is way worse than most people realize. It's not just about missing a few shots or having a bad game. We're talking about a level of struggle that's rare even for undrafted rookies, let alone someone with Bronny's pedigree and hype. And you know what? This whole situation is showing us something bigger about the NBA. It's exposing how the league, the media, and even the fans sometimes get caught up in narratives and names instead of focusing on actual on-court performance. We're seeing firsthand how hype can cloud judgment and skew expectations. Think about it. If any other rookie was putting up these kinds of numbers, would we be making excuses for them? Would they even get playing time? Or would they be sent down to the G League faster than you can say airball? The Bronny situation is forcing us to ask some hard questions about fairness, talent evaluation, and what really matters in professional basketball. Speaking of what really matters in basketball, let's talk cold, hard numbers. You think Bronny's struggling? That's putting it mildly. We're about to dive into stats so bad, they make airball look like a compliment. Ready to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes? Alright, buckle up, because these numbers are gonna make your head spin. Let's start with points per game. Where do you think Bronny ranks among rookies? Top 50? Top 80? Nope. He's sitting at a mind-blowing 94th place. You heard that right, 94th. There are 93 rookies outscoring him right now. That's not just bad, that's, did he forget how to play basketball? Bad. But wait, it gets worse. His field goal percentage, that's down at 95th. Maybe he's just taking tough shots, right? Well, his 3-point percentage is even lower at 104th. At this point, you'd have a better chance of scoring if you closed your eyes and chucked the ball over your shoulder. Now, here's the real gut punch. His plus minus. This stat shows how much impact a player has when they're on the court. Bronny's plus minus is dead last, 105th out of 105 rookies. That means every time he steps on the court, it's like the team is playing 4-on-5. It's so bad, you'd think he was secretly working for the other team. I know what you're thinking. But he's a second-round pick. What do you expect? Fair point. Second rounders usually aren't expected to light the world on fire. But even with those low expectations, Bronny's still finding ways to limbo under that bar. We're talking about performance levels that make other second rounders look like all-stars. Let's put this in perspective. Imagine you're at a party and someone's telling you about their kid who just started playing basketball. They're going on and on about how great he is, how he's the next big thing. Then you find out he's actually the worst player on his team. That's basically what's happening here, but on a much bigger, much more expensive stage. These numbers aren't just bad for a hyped-up rookie. They're historically bad for any NBA player. We're talking check the record books levels of underperformance. It's like Bronny's out there trying to set records, just not the kind anyone wants. So Bronny's stats are in the gutter, right? But get this, there are people out there saying it's not his fault. In fact, they're claiming if Bronny wasn't in the league, other rookies would look like busts. Wait, what? How does that even make sense? You're probably thinking, who in their right mind would say something like that? Well, let me introduce you to Gilbert Arenas. Yeah, that Gilbert Arenas. He's out here spewing some of the wildest excuses you've ever heard. It's like he's watched a completely different Bronny James than the rest of us. Arenas is comparing Bronny to top draft picks. Can you believe it? He's saying that if Bronny wasn't in the league, those guys would be called busts. I mean, come on. That's like saying if I wasn't playing pickup basketball at the Y, LeBron would look bad. It's that ridiculous. But here's where it gets really crazy. While Arenas is busy making excuses for Bronny, there are other rookies out there actually balling out. Take Alex Sarr from the Wizards, for example. This guy's putting up solid numbers in the preseason. We're talking 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks per game. That's not just good. That's future star good. So why aren't we hearing more about Sarr? Why isn't he getting the spotlight? Because everyone's too busy making excuses for Bronny. That's why. It's like the whole basketball world has gone topsy-turvy. We're praising the guy who can't hit the broadside of a barn and ignoring the ones who are actually showing promise. And you know what's really messed up about all this? It's not just hurting Bronny. It's hurting all those other rookies who are out there earning their spots. Guys like Sarr who are putting in the work, showing real skill, and getting overshadowed by this ridiculous Bronny hype machine. Think about it. If you're a rookie in the NBA right now, busting your butt to prove yourself, how would you feel? You're out there hitting shots, grabbing boards, making plays, and all anyone wants to talk about is how Bronny James isn't actually that bad. It's enough to make you want to scream, right? Speaking of rookies getting overshadowed, there's an even bigger story brewing. Remember when the NBA was all about skill on the court? Well, hold on to your seats, because LeBron's latest move might just flip the whole league on its head. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, LeBron James. His influence isn't just changing the game, it's reshaping the entire NBA landscape, and not in a good way. You know how LeBron's made it crystal clear he wants to play with Bronny? That's a father's dream, right? Sounds sweet on the surface, but dig a little deeper and things get messy real quick. Here's the deal. The NBA is bending over backwards to make this father-son dream team happen. It's like the whole league got a memo saying, whatever LeBron wants, LeBron gets. We're seeing teams, media, even other players tiptoeing around Bronny's performance like they're walking on eggshells. It's wild. Imagine you're a coach or a GM right now. You've got this rookie who's putting up historically bad numbers. In any other situation, you'd be having some real talk with that player, maybe even considering sending them down to the G League. But with Bronny, everyone's acting like he's made of glass. Why? Because nobody wants to be the one to upset LeBron James. This isn't just about Bronny anymore. It's changing how the whole league operates. Think about it. We're entering an era where a player's last name might matter more than their stats. That's not basketball. That's a family reunion with a scoreboard. You know what this reminds me of? WWE. Yeah, I said it. We're moving into an era of WWE basketball, where entertainment and spectacle matter more than actual skill on the court. It's like we're trading jump shots for storylines and box scores for plot twists. And let me tell you, that's a dangerous path for the future of the NBA. What happens when other superstars start demanding special treatment for their kids? Or when teams start drafting based on last names instead of talent? It's a slippery slope, and we're already halfway down it. Alright, let's wrap this up. Bronny James isn't just having a rough start, He's shining a spotlight on a major problem in the NBA. It's not just about one player anymore. This whole situation is exposing how the league values names over talent. And you know what? That's messed up. It's time for us fans to wake up and demand better. We need to remind the NBA that basketball is about skill, not family connections. The future of the game is at stake here. Are we going to let the NBA turn into some kind of family reunion with a scoreboard? Or are we going to speak up and say enough is enough? The ball's in our court now. What are you going to do about it?